Hello, friends, and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another live session of our channel where we connect with you, discuss with you, and listen to your problems and help you understand all the concepts, what you need to understand as a part of our live session. So feel free and be a part of this live session and let me know all your questions and concerns whatsoever you may have. And I'll be more than happy responding to all your queries as a part of this live session and responding to all your concerns. So hello, friends, and greetings for the day. Welcome back to our live session once again. This is Saturday, and we connect together at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. for an hour to listen to all your queries, all your questions, all your concerns you may have. And discuss about them, help you understand all that queries, whatever you may need to understand. So, welcome aboard and welcome one and all. And feel free to drop your queries and concerns as a part of this live session. And the very first thing coming in today is from Tina. Can you please explain difference between role-based and perspective-based review technique? Thank you. So, Tina, the major difference between these two techniques and for others, the techniques which we generally have is as a part of the static testing. So when it comes to review, we have several other techniques like ad hoc, scenario-based, dry runs, and we do have the just a moment. I think we had a power failure here. Okay, we just had a small power failure, and I think I'm pretty much back. Yes, Tina, I was just talking about your query there, and the query was about static review techniques. And as a part of it, you generally identify that there are several techniques to review, and one of them is perspective based, and the other one is the role based. Perception based is basically when you want a particular role with multiple perceptions. And let me start with the role based technique because role based technique is something which generally goes with saying that you want one particular role to contribute to a particular documentation. So, say for example, I have requirement being reviewed, and I want inputs from tester, architect, developer, and many other people like technical support team or finance team or whatever, right? So I'm inviting one person from each role is what I call it as role-based technique, where I invite one tester, one developer, one architect. But if I extend this further, and say that I want 2 testers or 3 testers, 3 developers, 3 architects to contribute to the review, is what I would say it as, that it is perspective based. Because in testing as well, I'm looking for more perceptions. What is perception? When individual person has a view about something, and different testers may be different from each other, correct? So not just one tester. When we invite multiple testers to do the review, we call it as perception based. And when we talk about rule based, it's more of like one person from one particular role. And that is what the major difference between role and perception based. I hope I made it clear to all of you, and especially Tina when you were asking about this question. Yes, team. Please go ahead, and if you've got a question, just drop it here, and I'm listening to you, responding to your queries, and helping you understand all the concepts. We're not sure if Tina is here because we had a small power failure, and everything seems to be now good. All right, that's good, Tina. Thanks for your response. Yes, team, go ahead and let me know if you got any more questions. We are here for some time together and looking forward to your questions, queries. And the questions and queries are not just limited to ISTQB certification. If you have anything related to testing, even about the testing tools, as we do talk a lot about our testing tools in tutorials. And in fact, if you have any questions regarding the career path, starting as a tester also, you can feel free to ask me any questions, and I'll be more than happy to respond to you, help you understand the concepts. And this is why we do have this live session, where it's all about listening to your queries, responding to them, helping you understand the concept. So feel free. Let the question be anything. It should not be a complicated one that you should ask me something very critical only. You can even ask me any simple questions which comes to your mind, and I should be really more than happy to respond to you at any point of time. All right, Tina says there is another question that can you please explain static analysis and static analysis tools? Okay, it's not static analysis or static analysis tools. It's rather static testing and static analysis. Now, what's the difference between static testing and static analysis? When you talk about reviewing a piece of work product, and that work product can be anything. It could be a requirement document, it could be a design document, it could be a test plan, it could be a development plan, or even it could be a contract, right? You know the list of all the items which you can review. So when you talk about these written documentations like requirement, design, control flow diagrams, and all, you do it via static testing, okay, where you go through that yourself, a manual intervention of it. But there are few things which are the candidates of static testing but cannot be done manually. For example, if I'm talking about data flow diagrams, I'm talking about algorithms, I'm talking about code review, right? So mainly these control flow diagrams, data flow diagrams, or code review are not done manually. Like, look at an example of a program which is like a set of 400 lines of code, and 400 lines of code you have to find an anomaly, that whether the variables which are used is declared, whether there is no unreachable code or dead code, security vulnerabilities, and all those sort of things cannot be done manually, right? And that is where you take help of tools to do static testing for you. Now that's the difference. When a human does the review, for example, requirement, you go through the requirement, you read the requirement and find any sort of anomalies in that. But when it comes to code review, you take help of tools like compilers, right? Compiler is one of the example of static analysis. And of course, static analysis is done by the tools. So the second thing what you're mentioning are the example of a static analysis tools. So the difference between, if I go by your question, difference between static analysis and static analysis tool is that static analysis is the process of doing analysis, that is, review by tools. And static analysis tools are example compiler. Or there are many other tools available which you can search online and get to know that what are the various types of static analysis tools. Mostly the companies or the organization will have their internal built static analysis tool. Okay, so the tools are basically used in static analysis, whereas static testing, we don't use tools. I hope you got clarity on that. Yes, Ian, feel free to drop the questions. There are a lot of people joining in slowly. And if you have got a question to ask about testing, anything, be it about certification, be it about testing tools or testing concepts, you are free to ask me anything here as a part of this live session. And we'll be here till 8 p.m. together, and I'll be busy answering all your questions. You're welcome, Tina. And don't forget to drop a thumbs up if you're really happy with the service and the channel which we are bringing it to you. Okay, looking forward to more questions. To be frank, we really don't have any specific agenda for our live sessions. It is mainly and only to answer your queries. So feel free and ask me any number of questions, whatever you have with you. This is more of like getting to the expert to get your queries resolved. So feel free and raise your queries, raise your concerns, and I'll be more than happy responding to all your queries as a part of it. All right, Zad is here. Good evening, Jad. So, can you explain these terms? That is test coverage, vulnerability in the code, duplication, code smells, reliability testing. Just give it a moment. Sorry, I had an important call to attend. Yes, please go ahead. So we were talking about Zad Khan's terms here: test coverage, vulnerability in code, duplication, code smells, and reliability testing. Okay, let's start from the beginning. When you talk about the code test coverage is a terminology which is being used for uh, sorry about the background noise. When you talk about the test coverage, it is basically to say that how much testing has been conducted on a particular piece of code. Now, you may have any particular line of code, and you might have written any number of test cases. But does your test cases cover the entire code in the given fragment? Right? Because your code may have different decisions, the code may have different conditions to be fulfilled, and we need to make sure that you have everything in place, right? So this is where the test coverage has to be done, because it might be possible that you might have written 10 test cases for a given fragment of code, but still it has only 50% coverage of it. So test coverage always gives you a measure of requirement and the number of test cases written for it, and what test case coverage you have achieved based on the functionality coverage. When it comes to vulnerability in the code, it's more from the security point of view, that whether the security or whether the code is vulnerable. That means somebody can penetrate into it and can hack it. So if, for example, a very simple example, if I've written a program to manage or written the code to manage the login page, and somebody is able to inject some kind of virus on login page and hack your username and password when you interact with it, and next time use that username and password and log in into your system or account, right? That is what you call it as vulnerabilities. Now, vulnerabilities are basically tested from the security point of view, and you have different tools to measure that. Coming to the duplication, of course, if a code is repeated, you call it as duplication. And duplication can be a generic term in entire development lifecycle from any point of view. Could be from a requirement point of view, could be from a design point of view, could be from a testing point of view as well. But specifically, I know what is coming from duplication, which is from the code duplication. That means if the code was copy pasted at another place and the same thing is being executed once again. Or generally, it happens when you do a login and the page refreshes, right? So that's a duplication. So you must be checking for those things. When you talk about the reliability testing, it's more about reliability of the system, that whether the system is reliable at any point of time. That means the person can rely on the system. So what do you mean by reliability basically? For example, if you go to a shop, right, and you go there and you see that people are very kind enough to you and they're not trying to cut you with all your financial deals and other things, and say that okay, whatever you are buying is worth buying, and their way they greet you, the way they deal with you as a customer, the way they cater you, the way they complete the deal and offer you discounts and all those things is called as reliability, right? The same way, this reliability comes from the functionality point of view, that if the tool is, or the software or the application which you are building up is reliable for someone or not, right? So this is where the reliability will be a part of it. Now, what you would need to understand here is that if the functionality, for example, something weird happens every time I use Flipkart, or something weird happens every time I use Amazon, right? So I would say Amazon is not reliable. Sometimes it logs me in, sometimes it doesn't log me in, right? But whenever I add something to the cart, sometimes it gets added to the cart, sometimes it does not get added to cart. I have to add it again and again, right? That's what is called as reliability. And these are all coming from the functional point of view, that from the functionality, the tool is not reliable. So it could be related to any product which you are making, and for what functionality it is being built for, and what is the intended audience. If the audience does not find it reliable, they will not use it. So we conduct several testing, repetition, that I try to log in 100 times, try to log in or add items to the cart from different products or different pages and see that if it is added to the cart or not. Now, if it is skipping the adding cart, then of course it is not a reliable product. If I cannot scan a QR code using my Paytm wallet, then it's an unreliable source. Or every time my payment fails, it is an unreliable product, right? So reliability goes from there. Coming to the code smell part of it, the code smell is any characteristic in the source code of a program that possibly indicates a deeper problem. And this deeper problem could be anything. Okay, it could be like language specific, or developer specific, or development methodology. So every developer is a human being. Now, one person says that I write a program to check the palindrome like this. Another one who's smarter than me can come back and tell me that, boss, you know what? I know this in a different way. I can reduce some lines of code, and this could be the thing. I can do it like that as well. Fantastic. But the problem is, he would have done this pattern throughout the script, throughout the code, right? Now, a new person who joins this organization would say that, how did he do that? I don't understand this code because I have a different pattern of understanding this or writing it, right? So skipping that and having that pattern being identified is what we generally go in the code smells. So code smell is from the point of refactoring or finding any kind of issues. It could be anything. It could be a pattern. So pattern is just one of the example, and you may find a lot of different things which you can identify as a part of the code smell. So code smell is all about like smelling the issue which you can encounter as a part of programming. All right, Zad. I hope you've got a good understanding of all the terms which you just mentioned. If you have any more terms with you, just feel free to drop them. I'm here talking about all your queries. All right. The next question is coming in from Dinesh Tiwari. Good evening, sir. Very good evening, Dinesh. And need guidance on improving debugging skills. Again, that's more of a development part of it, though we only try answering the testing. And this is, I'm not sure, again, you're asking me from the development point of view or testing point of view, but let me answer this because very generic. Okay, no matter you're a developer, you are a tester, debugging skills is required by both of them. If you're an automation tester, debugging skills is equivalent. So when it comes to debugging skills, right, first and foremost thing is that you need to be aware of the script which you are trying to debug, right? So if we talk about an automation, thank you for mentioning that. So, when we talk about debugging a particular script, so generally it goes right from the understanding of the pattern, first of all. Like, what is the debugging, right? Debugging is mainly about understanding where the problem is. So you do have a breakpoint, which is a very common thing which a person can use in order to understand that at what point the script is failing. Second, you can insert some verification steps or some kind of implicit or explicit weights which can tell you at any point of time that what exactly is going wrong. Because if you see automation, right, again, you are an automation tester, so you understand what I'm talking about. If a particular line is not executed, and it returns me saying that this particular object was not visible to me. Now, visibility can be because the application was not visible, or the object was not visible, or object was visible, but the property was not identified, right? And I hope you're getting my point where I'm talking out from. So when it comes to certain assertions, it comes to certain verification steps or certain reporter event which reports me that what exactly happened on the screen could be again helpful for me, right? So there are a lot of things which you can generally utilize, and you can find the bugs or the bugs in your own script, not from a testing point of view like the bug in the system, but from your script. So generally the reason of your script failure could be like a wrong script, could be a wrong syntax, could be a wrong object being identified or not identified. So at every point of time, have a practice of utilizing your breakpoints, assertions, or maybe any sort of verification step, which would help you to get all the understanding of the script. Now, always try to have a snapshot. Okay, again, from an automation point of view, you know what snapshot stands for. Have a snapshot which will tell you that what was your script and what is that you have right now. Correct? Because at time to time you will be refactoring your script, and certainly there are a lot of people which I have seen in my past experience, they do not keep a snapshot of the script. That means version. You can say it even a versioning in simple terms, but keep a version of it, like version 1.0, version 1.1, 1.2, so that you can easily compare if you have to revert back to something which was working fine earlier, right? Due to this modification, something else is not working. So always keep a snapshot of your script whenever you try to modify it for any reasons. So we generally try to utilize all these ideas and use a kind of commenting part of it, which will help you to understand which block is for what, right? And again, writing skills equally helps you back in the debugging skills. So include commenting. A lot of people think that, okay, comment is for beginners and we don't really have to write any comments because we are expert in writing the script. No, it is helpful for you at any point of time to go to a particular block, because debugging skills should help you reduce the time as well, right? So reduce the time in the sense that how much time do you really spend in order to find the root cause and resolve it. So if you have the comments, it will minimize your effort to identify the block in which your issue can be lying. So using commenting will in turn help you to improve your debugging skills. And when you talk about the snapshot will certainly help you to compare that what has changed and how it can impact. Moreover, if you want to have these assertions and checkpoints and verification steps or reporter events can certainly tell you what point went good and at what point the response was not there. So yeah, using all these steps and practices, you can certainly improve a lot of things as a part of your debugging skills. And there is more to it, which you can certainly add more from exploration, and that will increase a lot of your understanding. Right, Dinesh? So I hope you got your answer. If you need something more, do let me know. Okay, there's another one. I only wanted to say thank you. your work really helped me with CTAL TAE exam, Test Automation Engineer. I don't know your name there. I'm so sorry. It just says 6 badly L. Anyways, congratulations to you and thank you so much for joining in and letting us know about your result. It's really great to hear such results coming back, and especially for the test automation engineer, because that's a little complicated one, specialist certificate. So it says, just for everyone's understanding, test automation engineer is one of the advanced specialist certification for the automation architects, right? If you certify with that, you can call yourself as an automation architect and you can provide end-to-end solutions to the automation. Okay, that's one thing. So congratulations to you and thank you so much for letting us know as a part of this live session, because you become an inspiration to many of them here who are joining this live session and looking forward to take the consideration on this channel that this will be helpful for us to prepare well. We do have Dennis saying, I just want to thank you so much. What an amazing job you do. It's all my pleasure, Dennis, because it's all, my pleasure again that I'm helping out people. It's all that, people don't find proper solution when they come online, because we do have Udemy, you do have Read, you do have, a lot of other portals which provide you online courses, but not solutions, right? So you need someone to respond to your queries, help you understand the concepts and the questions which you get stuck with while doing this video-driven courses, right? So I'm not sure that how many of you really get the instructor support when you take this training. So here I thought of like bringing up that uniqueness that this channel will provide an hour time to everyone weekly once, so that they can come back and ask their questions to me, and irrespective whether you take up my course, you watch my channel or not, you are a subscriber to my channel or not, is not a criteria. Just feel free, come back, drop your question, get your response, and no problem at all. If you stay back, that's a really great thing for me. But if you're not staying back, I think I need to improve. Right, Dennis? So thank you so much for that compliment. I would certainly take this as fueling my inspiration, and we'll continue to keep up the good work. Don't forget to drop a thumbs up if you're really happy with the service. Zayed says, I find these terms written in Sonar Cube report and Q report. Yeah, that's pretty much possible. You will find a lot of such words in pretty much different reports when you talk about it. So I hope now you will understand these reports better. All right, yes, team. Looking forward to more questions. I got all the questions here and expecting more questions to come up soon. And looking forward to solve as many problems as possible so that you will find it more convenient to continue your journey, understanding more concepts about testing today. All right, so generally we do it on the weekend because everyone will be available. They don't have any work commitments and, work lag, like jet lag. So, but Saturday is also a weekend and a lot of people try to spend time with their family. But yeah, I just have this option for all of you. If you have any recommendations, any suggestions, any ideas to add more value or improvise this channel work, then you are free to utilize this live session to share that as well. But I'll be taking a consideration on your request and we'll be talking about it and also considering this in all our featured discussions and tutorials. So just feel free to share not only your questions, if you got a feedback, you got a complaint, so sort of complain, or any kind of suggestions, feel free to share with us. Okay, so we are half past the time for today's session. We have another 30 minutes to go from here. If you got anything more, feel free to drop them. I'm here talking about your queries, resolving your queries, helping you understand. Just I'm a chat away. Drop your ping here. I'll pick it up, talk about it, and respond to you. Okay, I don't see any more questions coming up. Waiting for some more time, then we'll trigger a timeout for 5 minutes. If we don't have any questions, we consider that we are done for the day, and we will continue ahead the next weekend. But yeah, before that, I'll have a trigger of 5 minutes to see if there are any more questions coming up for the day. If not, we'll close the day. Because I don't want to record a live session being idle. But yeah, of course, I do understand there might be questions coming a little late. But yes, just don't want to be idle here where people think that he just comes in and sits for some time and says that he's just there and just being there as a part of it. Okay, waiting for more questions. Okay, got more questions here. And there's a first one coming in from Neha. Says, can you please explain a bit about gamma testing? Okay, I'm not sure about anything specific on gamma testing. Let me just see that what exactly you stand for that, because a lot of people say a different thing about each of the testing. I do know about alpha, beta, and not exactly sure how do you say gamma testing. Okay, I see some of you say that as gamma testing is the final stage of testing process conducted before process conducted before software release. Okay, I don't really get a difference in this. So I just checked on the Google. There is only thing to understand that what is that which is different between gamma testing and alpha and beta. So if you see internet says gamma testing is the final stage of testing process conducted before software releases. It makes sure that the product is ready for market release according to all the specific requirement. And gamma testing focuses on software security and functionality, but pretty much the same when you talk about the alpha and beta. And these all are pretty much done well before that. So you don't really have to be specific to that, right? So you just have to say alpha and beta is already covering that. So there is no such specification calling gamma testing as a process. And if you consider, I have been to more than 100 plus organizations so far, and nobody uses a term called as gamma testing as such. But you do have system testing and end-to-end testing when we have the integration of multiple systems together. But they do still conduct alpha and beta, but there's no something called as gamma. All right, we have another one calling is Precious Moyo. After the foundation course, which course should I do next? You can look forward to Agile course, which is Agile certification at foundation level, and that would be something most recommended for you at this point of time. So Precious Moyo, you can look forward to any of the specialist course like performance tester, mobile application tester, or anything from that list, or you can go for Agile Tester Extension, okay, which is a foundation level of the Agile certification. Okay, we do have Chetan Sharma asking us a question. Hey Chetan, can you give a link of sample paper ISTQB Automotive Software Tester? Okay, there's only one link which is available on istqb.org, and you can find that on the official website. If you're really not sure about that, I can quickly give you this. So let me just go there and pick it up the certifications. And we're talking about automotive tester. So where is automotive tester? Here it is. So that's the link. And if you go to this link, you would find one sample paper, which is available online, and you can practice these questions for your exam. Okay. Sure. You're welcome, Precious Moyo. And Chetan also says, thank you. You're welcome. Dinesh says, sir, traceability matrix in terms of forward and backward. Okay. Traceability matrix is a bidirectional traceability matrix, okay, or bidirectional traceability. So we do get single directional, we do get bidirectional. Bidirectional means that backward and forward both, right? So traceability, RTM, if you say requirement traceability matrix, these are bidirectional. Why do we call it as bidirectional? That means it is read as requirement covered by test cases, or if you take it from the test case side, test cases which are covering these requirements. So if my requirements are covered in the test cases, or if my test cases are covering all the requirements, this is what your backward and forward or bidirectional traceability is. So traceability matrix in terms of backward and forward means that I can trace it from either way. Okay, I can trace it from either way. That means if I'm in test cases, I know what requirements these cases are written for, or if I'm in requirements, I know which test cases are covering this requirement, right? So this is what your backward and forward is all about. Yes, team, any more questions? I'm looking for more. I think I'm pretty much caught up with all the list items here. Yassine, feel free. No matter whatever your question is all about, I'm here talking about your queries and responding to them. So feel free if you got a question with you, be it about certification, be it about testing concepts, be it about your career as a QA, and I'm all here responding to you. Okay, Dinesh also says, can we say Sanity is a part of traceability matrix and vice versa? Uh, Not sure if there is any kind of relationship between that, because sanity is something which is to check on high level that if anything what is being deployed is ready for testing, right? Or sanity and smoke, right? Deeper or broader. So sanity is more broader, smoke is more deeper, and if you are conducting this, it is more of like acceptance for testing or readiness for testing, right? Now, traceability matrix is more of like a relationship between two entities. Okay, requirement test cases, code test cases, requirement code, right? Design code. So between two entities, if I create a relationship, that's what I call it as traceability matrix. Mapping two entities together and creating a relationship between them is what we call it as traceability. So I don't think, okay, as per my experience, that sanity is anywhere a part of traceability. Okay, sanity is just a check. For example, when you receive an item, right, which is being delivered to you, and you do a quick check that everything is, well in perfect phase, shape and size, and the item is delivered to you what you just ordered, right? But you don't drive that product. You just check quickly that is this what I really ordered, and that's what you call it as sanity check, and has no traceability to it. Traceability is mapping two different entities. I hope that gives you clarity there. Okay, Chetan says, which certificate are there at your backside wall? Just asking, I can identify foundation level. Okay, there are a lot many things here behind my screen. Other things are not being covered. I do have a writer certification because I'm an author for ISTQB Foundation. I do have an advanced level certification. I do have like not one advanced level, many advanced level like test analyst, technical test analyst, and test test manager, and we do have some specialists. Whatever I have prepared the tutorials for, it's just that I don't have enough space to crowd all the certificate here, so I don't put all the things. Even you would find one of my, the authored book here, which is being framed. So that's one of my book, which you can see there. So this is what I have behind me as a certification. But there are a lot many other which I certainly don't have enough space to put them. It becomes very crowded, and that does not look good. And sometimes people think that he's trying to show off, right? So I don't put everything in place. Anyways, that's a good question as well. A lot of people should be wondering that what are these things. We don't see a clarity there, but yes, it is all my appreciation and certificate of profession, because I do have a lot of tool-based certifications like Jira, LoadRunner, UFT, ALM. But again, as I told you, there's no space. No, always not a problem at all. You can always ask me anything. I told you, right? There's no condition here. You're free to question me whatever you have in your mind. Okay, meanwhile, we get the next question. This is a quick highlight to all those who are probably not aware of it. We have got another channel which is doing again a pretty well job on testing tools. The channel TM Square is all about ISTQB certifications and testing theoretical concepts. But I do have a channel called as Testing in Nutshell, and that's more about the testing tools. So if in case you are expecting more from me, then that's the channel where you will find all the tools related tutorials. And right now we have around 1,400 subscribers on that channel, and people are really happy with all the tutorials which we are providing there as well. So you can find more from me on this channel called as Testing in Nutshell. If in case you're expecting more and you would say, why not something more beyond this, then I do have another channel called as Technical Vocabulary. Okay, and this is all about the terminologies. A lot of people find difficult to get a quick technical glossary. So we have created very short videos in this channel called as Technical Vocabulary, and you would find basic definition to each and every term. And again, pretty much great response from there as well. Short videos of 2 minutes and 3 minutes, but giving you few things like definition, meaning, and example to understand anything, right? So you should give a look to that and get an understanding of it. Zaid says, but sir, sanity is at the end of the build before running regression testing, and smoke testing we use at the part when the new build is received. Correct me, please. Exactly. It's true. When you talk about sanity, it's just that where you use it. For example, if an environment is getting ready, right? If environment is getting ready and the environment is deployed from a development team saying that, we have, DevOps team set up a, QA environment and says that your QA, now the development code is now deployed in QA. And they say that initialize with the sanity test. Why do they say it as sanity test? Because their work is done. But for QA, we can't just start testing there, testing the functionality. We first have to test whether everything from the development code is being deployed to the QA environment. Same way, from QA to SIT to UAT, UAT to pre-prod or anything, right? Pre-prod, I don't know if all of you really understand, but we do have sometime, in different environments, we do have pre-production and production. Of course, you don't test it, right? So for them, the work is done. All the development code has been migrated to QA environment. But before we initialize our functional test execution, we do a quick sanity check that all the components of the development environment has been migrated to QA environment or not. So we call it as sanity, right? But sanity is something from a QA point of view done before utilizing the QA environment, right? So it all depends on from which angle you are watching it. If you're watching it from a receiving from a point of view, then of course it is done after deployment. But if you're talking from a beginning of the functional testing point of view, then you're doing it before starting the testing activities. Okay. I hope you got your answer. Let's look at the second part. Yeah, so I think I answered both of them. And Alex says, do you also answer on LinkedIn? Yes. If you have any questions, any comments, you just put it there and I'll be more than happy to respond to you. I do not have a forum as such or kind of, a page or community or something where I can give you an answer. I'm looking forward to have a showcase page where people can uh, post their questions and talk about it, probably like a group, a testing group. And I'll be soon doing that. Thank you for giving me that insight. I think the next thing tomorrow, which I'll be doing, is creating a group on Facebook named TM Square, and you can drop all your questions there, offline mode as well. I generally be here because we do have a great followership here, and a lot of people will be online on YouTube when we generally come online. So I think this is the platform I've been using so far. But if we see a better crowd in LinkedIn, I'll also be available there to respond to you. Okay, and yeah, there's another one coming in from Dinesh. Every time it's been asked to improve the understanding to be in testing, what are those certain aspects of exploration of making a particular product understand well from testing perspective? Okay, I'm not sure what you exactly meant here. Every time it's been asked to improve the understanding to be in testing. What I didn't understand here, Dinesh, is that are we talking about being a tester or understanding a product for testing? Okay, so please clarify me that. What are those certain aspects of exploration of making a particular product understand well from testing perspective? Okay, I think I'm somewhere close to what you wanted to ask. Number one thing is what I understand here that how do I really understand a requirement, right? And then you test it. So to test it, you need to understand it. If you don't understand it, your testing is waste of time. So the only thing what you need to do is have clear understanding of all the concepts, including requirement, design, architecture, whatever you can get access to. If you have use cases, you can also make use of them. You have got state transition diagrams, make use of that. You got a business use case, you got a business scenario, business model, anything which the development team or the requirement team is creating as an artifact can be a useful information for you to understand what is the product all about. Now, a product is a collection of lot many things. That's what I'm saying, every input there. It could be a particular website, it could be a CRM software. It could be a complex integration of multiple systems together. And it invites a lot of things, not only the UI UX component, even the core functionalities, the labels, right from the API, the web services, integrations, and a lot many things. So when a tester is supposed to understand the system before kicking off with the testing activities, in fact, the planning of testing, we should have some idea about the requirement. When you start writing the test cases or designing the test cases, you must have clear understanding of every single aspect, including the requirement, design, UI UX component, and connectivity flows. That is integration. That if the system is going to interact with another system, if so, what is the output? How would you test it? What are the parameters? What are the attributes which you need to target? Right? So just a reminder, team, you got 10 more minutes from this live session. If you really have any questions, just drop them below. All right, Alex says, I'm working on a test types document, but if you can help me clarify it because I'm newbie. Now, I do totally agree with you, Alex. If you're a newbie, you may certainly have a lot of confusions, but what do you mean by test types document? What is that you're trying to create? Because test types for me means functional, non-functional, and change-related testing. Okay, so if you tell me now I'm talking about functional testing, then I can tell you a list of items. If you say no, I'm talking about non-functional testing, then I can tell you a list of items. And if you say, no, I'm talking about, black box testing, white box testing, or certain thing like that as test types, we can talk about it. So if you can tell me the subtitle of it, that would be really helpful. Because there are a lot of things, variety of things which you can actually create. So what is that you are actually trying to create? Okay, all of the function and non-functional, white box, black box, everything. All right, so you want the entire list from me. Okay. Okay, starting just giving you a quick overview, right? Because of course, not everything can be covered here as a part of discussion. That's a big understanding to be done together. But I'll give you, as you have asked me in a question here, I will certainly respond back to you. When you talk about any of these, like when you talk about functional, non-functional, or white box and black box, they have different set of documentation. Okay, for an example, if I'm talking about unit testing, all right, we just gather all the component related information, get the code access, because unit testing is more from the code point of view, and we do prepare unit test cases. There are a lot of unit test frameworks available, like JUnit, NUnit, XUnit, depending on the language. And we do have methodologies like TDD, BDD, and all, which can be embedded with the code in order to trigger them as soon as the code is deployed, right? These are different things which you can do for the unit testing. Similarly, for integration, whenever an API is being integrated to the system, you have to conduct integration testing and see if the request is responding to you appropriately or not. Now, let's talk a little bit about the non-functional side of it. When I talk about non-functional testing, there's a huge list of non-functional test levels. Number one, performance testing. Now, performance testing comes with a different set of requirements. We do have performance parameters which are elaborated to us from a performance point of view. That what are your number of users? How are they trying to use this? Are they simultaneous or they are endurance? And if there are any kind of spike involved, what is the behavior of these users? What's the response time you are expecting? What's the constraints and blockers on the services which will block the access of the system? A lot many other things, right? So you have entire set of SLA or parameter list which will be provided to you from a performance point of view, and then you test it accordingly. Similarly, security testing, usability testing, accessibility testing, they're all different from each other, and you have different set of requirement and approach to test this. Coming to white box and black box, white box and black box are completely different in form of approach. The white box testing is done at the code level. Okay, a person who knows what is programming, what's a code, prepares the unit test cases and conducts the unit testing at a white box level, that is at the code level. But when you talk about the black box testing, it's more on the front end. Like as a user, when you interact with the system and test it, you call it as black box testing. Of course, the test cases will be different because code level test cases will be more of scripting based, and black box test cases will be more of written based, like English language. You just write the user steps and perform the execution. So things are totally different from each other. And again, being a single person, you might be probably a test manager, because if you have to create all the test types to documentation, then I consider you as a test manager right now, because you should be well versed with everything. So if you know everything, just go by the plan and prepare all that artifacts which are supposed to be created as per your organization test policy. And each one of them will have a deeper dive. Certainly cannot be answered as a part of this in detail, but yeah, this is the overview of it. So please do a deeper dive and you will get all the artifacts what you would need. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Alex. If you have anything else, just let me know. Chetan says, can you tell me about hill testing? At which testing level hill is used? I know mostly it is used in the system testing. Exactly, hardware in the loop. So you start with the MIL, which is model in loop, then you go with the system in loop, then we have hardware in the loop. So a lot of things are there. So hardware in loop is exactly as the system testing. The reason is you connect the hardware to the components and see that how exactly the hardware and the embedded system is responding to it. So when it comes to hill, right, the hardware in loop will be tested as a part of system testing itself. So you are completely correct, and that goes in line with your understanding. Okay, we have another question coming in from Dinesh. If someone is performing manual testing using Kanban framework of Agile methodology, is it necessary to go for Scrum Master? Okay, again, few different things here. Let me try to correlate. Scrum Master has nothing to do with testing or development. Okay, they have to do it from a Scrum point of view. I hope you got it what I'm trying to say, right? Scrum is a different methodology of Agile than Kanban. And Kanban does not have a Scrum Master because it's Kanban. And Scrum has a Scrum Master because it is a Scrum. So Kanban, first of all, does not have a Scrum Master because it's a work in progress. There are no confined time limit that 2 weeks you have to deliver this. Kanban goes with work in progress. That means consistently delivery. It's a line process. You pick up 10 items, you consistently deliver. As you are free, you pick up new items. So pick up new item, process it, deliver. Pick up new item, process it, deliver. Consistent. Okay? So you don't need somebody to drive you. You know what you're supposed to do. You're picking it up, doing that. When it comes to Scrum, Scrum is not work in progress. It is more of sprint driven. What is a sprint? Sprint is a time bound iteration. That means 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. You promised to deliver 10 items in 2 weeks of time. Now you need a scrum master to question you on daily basis that are you progressing well? If yes, good, we will be able to deliver. If you say, no, I'm not sure what should happen, then you have a blocker. Then the Scrum Master will get you necessary help, what you need in order to get the blocker closed so that you can proceed with your work and deliver what we promised to the customer. Right? So now I hope you understand what I was saying that there are a few things which are different from each other. And if you are following Kanban, you don't need a Scrum Master. Okay. Chetan Sharma says sometimes we use small bench setup in component testing. We use emulators and ECU connect with hardware. Can we say small bench setup is also hill testing? Yes, you can say that. As far as your hardware, which is your ECU, is connected to the emulator, and you are involving the physical components, which is your hardware components, right? And I do understand what you mean by saying small bench. Yes, the moment the hardware comes into picture and it is involved in your testing activities, you call it as hill testing as well. Okay. So anyhow, when the hardware comes in the loop, right? That's what the name is, right? The name convinces you saying that what it is. So I say model in the loop, I say system in the loop, software in the loop, and then I say hardware in the loop. So whenever this hardware comes into picture, it's more of like embedded integrations. And that can also be called as a hill testing for sure. Okay, we are just 1 minute away from our live session closure. If you got any quick questions, please drop it in the chat box, and we should be looking forward to close our day. All right, we got Branco Lozo. Is it enough to watch your foundation level videos and mocks exam? Yes. Based on the feedback of thousands of people, the videos will be enough for you to prepare for the examination. You do not need anything else, but I would strongly recommend you, as you watch the video tutorials, you parallelly look into the syllabus copy of the ISTQB, which will give you a better confidence on each video tutorial. Strong recommendation from my end. But again, as I'm saying, there are thousands of people who have commented on the channel saying that the videos were just enough to pass the examination. So you take my advice and go by the recommendation. Okay. All the very best, Branko, and would like to see you with the success results coming up in the next few days. All right, we do have Chetan Sharma saying, thanks, sir. It's really helpful. Please conduct these sessions frequently. We'll try to. We do have Dinesh saying, thank you, sir, for the fruitful session. It's always my pleasure. And we connect every Saturday. Don't forget. If you got anything, I'll be here responding to you. Okay, and Branko also says, thanks. You're welcome, Branko. All the very best for your examination and preparation. And that's where we already hit the clock. So thank you, team, for joining in. It was really a great pleasure responding to all these questions. I certainly thankful to all the participants here because this live session is incomplete without every single participant joining in. Right? So thank you for being a part of this live session. It was really my pleasure connecting with you all and responding to your queries. And I hope to solve a lot of problems in the coming days as well. Feel free to let me know if you got a concern below by commenting. And as usual, at the end, I say, thank you so much for joining this video, team. If you have any more questions, feel free to drop them below. And keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for being a part of this video, team, and happy learning. Take care, team. See you next time. Till then, stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.